Good afternoon, this is Neil Spate, Overgrown News, and straight away I'll say this is not an orthodox news report. It's more a personal, philosophical consideration and question asking post. I'm down in Tilbury. The reason I came down was I saw on Facebook that there'd been flowers stolen and dug out around the civic centre here, and I came down, and we're going to go and have a look at that in a minute, and it's a little bit ill-founded, I think. But what struck me, in the last 24 hours I've done stories over in Corringham and down in Grays this morning about civic responsibility and civic pride, and where does the buck stop, if you like. And it's quite interesting. I come down to Tilbury, which is a town that a lot of people appear to have given up on, but I have a real passion for Tilbury. I think it's a great place with many great people, and yet there's a sense of who leads the way. Should it be the council? We talk, you see many projects of millions and millions of pounds going to be invested, and over the 20 years I've been in Thurrock, I've seen more money thrown at Tilbury than anywhere else, and yet it doesn't seem to stick. And let's just look at, this is the Civic Square, and this is one of the gardens around the Civic Square. It's a mess. We walk along to come round to the frontage where the Civic Hub is, where the town's library is, and a little bit of wildlife there. But this is overgrown. It's a mess, and I'm not having a go at anybody. I just wonder, the question is, whose responsibility is it? Is it right that this is a civic facility and this is what we get as we come round the corner? Weeds that it would take an hour, a couple of hours of a couple of people's time to sort all this back. But just look at this. This is the frontage to the town's civic pride. There's nettles, there's weeds. It's overgrown. It's a mess. And interestingly, the story that I heard was that people had come down and stolen flowers from these flower beds. Well, there's plenty of flowers here. Some may well have disappeared. What I will say, there's not a lot of watering. It's as dry as you like. And we've got the actual memorial, again, a place I come to once, twice a year for services, and it's unkempt. I don't know whose responsibility it is, but there has to be some sort of civic pride. I was just speaking briefly to Steve Lydiard, the local council, says, I'll come down tomorrow with my spade and my shovel and I'll get it done. Well, fantastic, and I'm sure Steve will, and I'm sure other councillors will rally round, but does there not need to be a commitment? I don't think this story, supposed story I've got about flowers being pinched, has got much veracity. Maybe one or two have been pulled out here, possibly because they're dead. But the thing that struck me more than anything else is just look at this. This is Tilbury's civic hub. This is the entrance to one of the best things that the council offers. And just look at it. Just look at these weeds. They haven't been pulled out. I mean, they've taken weeks to grow, months possibly. It wouldn't take a huge amount of effort. It wouldn't take a huge amount of money to deal with this, to keep it smart, to make it look good, to make it show that there is pride in our borough, in our towns, in our civic offices. I mean, look at it. It's just a mess. And I don't know. Maybe I do try and put my money where my mouth is. I live in Stamford. I'm part of the Blooming Marvels. I look after a community flower bed. I put my own money in. I water it. I look after it. We don't ask that anybody helps it. We do that in our community, but then we ask for things. But, the Civic Memorial in Stamford Hope, and I'm not blowing sugar up anybody's backside in particular, but that's maintained by local volunteers, which is great, but it should be a civic responsibility, surely. I mean, I'd welcome comments, I'd welcome thoughts. Please comment on this post. And do you think that Thurrock is doing enough in terms of civic pride? Is the emphasis, and I know it all boils down to money, exactly right? This should surely look a lot nicer than it does. This is the showpiece of Tilbury. Neil Spate, having a bit of a rant, Overgrown News.